December's usually the slowest month for releases, as all the companies are settling in with their lineups and just waiting for Christmas to be over. I thought I was safe, so I'd already shot this video, and then Rode went ahead and they bought Mackie. So let's do this again, I guess. But I swear to God, Rode, it's been a wild year of some amazing products. And of course, one company really plowing through, of course I do mean Rode. But this year, an actual challenger to the Rode empire emerged. We'll cover all that. It gets complicated. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at how this year unfolded. By the way, all this stuff will be linked down below in case you're curious. They are affiliate links, so if you do buy anything through them, it does go to support the channel. It's a great way to support the channel because no money off your back, right? And I must say, kicking off the year as per usual was pretty slow. And to be honest, most years are kind of like that. As for this year, really not much happened before NAB kicked off in April. But there was one, the first big release of 2023, bringing the new big selling feature that everyone was supposed to clamor for, and that was the Zoom UAC 232 with 32-bit float. And this thing gets on the list for being the first out of the gate with that feature, and frankly, at the time, it was a pretty big launch. Not gonna lie, 32-bit float is pretty cool, and it was interesting to see how it was integrated on the Zoom. And while it was a good launch and well anticipated, I think it kind of fell a bit flat. There were some quirks with the unit that I don't think many people were expecting. The lack of a gain knob was a pretty big issue and something that confused many. However, it was an interesting product, and I think it was a decent start of the conversation on 32-bit float. That said, despite it all, I still contest that 32-bit float is more of a marketing ploy than a serious attempt to expand at-home recording options. Sure, it can be handy, but I can tell you how many times I've peaked in my recordings this year. 0. All because I know how to set my gain. That said, I believe there was at least one product this year that utilized 32-bit float properly. Sadly, though, it's not the next product on this list. And yes, we're talking about the Rode NT1 5th Gen. This was a massive shock and a very welcome surprise, at least to me and this channel. This was perhaps the first USB mic that you were able to use professionally. And I mean that. Voiceover quality microphone that can just be plugged into the computer. That is awesome. This was a question that I got more than any other. Voiceover professionals asking about the best USB mic to take on the road to be able to record on the road. And honestly, there had never been a decent answer to this question. This microphone changed all of that. I know several voiceover professionals that are now using this mic, both in their studios and on the road. Also, I have to give a nod to the Signature series that was also released last month. Cheapest NT1 ever, all while having the updated specs from the 5th gen, just without the USB. By the way, if you're interested in looking forward at what 2024 is going to have in store for us, stay tuned as I have a video on that coming up on New Year's Day. Get subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Now, after the NT1 5th gen, again, things went silent for a bit. Then about a month later, Rode dropped an absolute bomb at NAB.
Introducing the Rodecaster Duo. It's called the StreamerX. Finally, we have the Podmic USB.
This was a release for the ages, and it had literally everything, including a backpack.
It is custom made to the exact specifications of the consoles.
Anyways, this was a huge moment for Rode, with the Rodecaster Duo and the StreamerX being top of the list for this announcement. And while both landed solidly and were successful, the Duo was basically a Rodecaster Pro 2 with fewer inputs, and the StreamerX was the first ever audio and video interface. And I can't forget to mention the Podmic USB was in on that too. Finally, there's a company taking USB mics seriously and doing something that was unheard of before, taking already popular mics and offering them with a USB option. What a novel idea. And part of the reason Rode was able to do this so successfully was their Revolution preamps, the same ones in the Rodecaster series. Man, that whole release was wild. All three of the Rodecaster Duo, StreamerX, and Podmic USB end up at the top of my list for the best of 2023. In Rode, they didn't stop there, but more on that in a bit. Lurking around the corners and ready to take on the Rode juggernaut was Mackie? Actually, fun fact about this, I was part of Mackie's research on the DLZ Creator, and I saw it way before it was released. So much so that I'd completely forgotten about it. And I think that at the time they may have reimagined a few things along the way, because I don't remember being this pumped about it when I saw it on release day. It was a beast in more than just features. It was massive on the desk and is probably the first real competitor to Rode's Rodecaster lineup. And Mackie literally thought of everything, with the exception of some of the niche things people are using Rode for, like streamers. But Mackie decided to take this in more of a music alternative way and really tried to one-up Rode in a few areas. The touchscreen was probably the biggest flex. It is massive, but also the ability to use it as an NDI was something completely unexpected. And when you look at this, it also came with a backpack, because 2023 is the year of having a backpack for your audio gear. I don't get it. All in all, though, it was the first time that the supremacy of Rode was challenged, and that is very exciting, especially for consumers. And to this day, it's still a beast, but Rode wasn't done in so many ways we were not expecting. First, they released the Wireless Pro shortly after, and this, my friends, was the actual best integration of 32-bit float across the board this year. Yes, it's an actual instance where needing more headroom was an actual thing. Anyone recording with a lav system knows that their very usage means the conditions you're recording under can be unpredictable. The very thing that 32-bit float is intended to solve. It also came with a bevy of other things like timecode, charging case, headphone preamp on the receiver. It just upped the game again for Rode. But of course, the year marched on, and in less than a month, the world was shocked when Shure made an announcement. The first upgrade to the Shure SM7B in over 20 years. Actually, it was 22 years to be exact. The Shure SM7DB was their latest release, with a gain booster and a slightly altered body, though retaining that legendary silhouette that people crave. Now, whether you want to admit it or not, it was the latest SM7 series from Shure, and considering how rare it is to see such a thing, this makes it one of the biggest releases this year, if not the decade. Now, I did have mixed feelings on it initially, but my concerns on replacing the SM7B do seem to be unfounded, though I'm still keeping my eye on you, Shure. Of course, since then, we've had the NT1 Signature series that I mentioned before, as well as the Rode White editions. And then, this video was supposed to be over. We were done with all the news from 2023, right? Of course not. Rode, like the juggernaut they are, decided to make one last big move from the year, and they bought themselves a massive Christmas present. They bought Mackie. And while we thought the audio landscape couldn't get more interesting, this makes the next 12 months a whole lot more intriguing. Now, again, I will have that look forward for 2024 coming up on New Year's Day, I believe, so stay tuned for that. But with all that behind us, I don't think there's been another year quite like this one. Great audio has never been easier to get, and as we continue to have companies try to one-up each other and apparently buy each other, the ones who end up winning are the consumers. And that, I have to say, it's pretty awesome. Can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for us.